Please be seated. Well, thank you all for that warm welcome, and welcome to the People's House. All of you here today who have gone from welfare to work really represent courage and strength, and I want to thank you for your examples of what is possible and for your stories of success. You've earned independence and the respect of your families and your communities, respect of your president. I want to congratulate you on using and utilizing your God-given talents to their fullest. So welcome. I want to welcome Tommy Thompson, who's the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Tommy, thank you for being here. He's a former governor. Nothing wrong with former governors. But Tommy has been a leader in welfare reform. She's really a leader in helping people. And he did a great job as the governor of Wisconsin. He's doing a great job here in Washington. Thank you, Tommy. Elaine Chao is here as well, who's the Secretary of Labor. And I want to thank you for coming, Elaine, as well. I want to thank members of the Congress who are here. Wally, thank you for coming. Wally Herger from California, Buck McKeon of California, Michael Bilrakis of Florida. I appreciate your interest. Thank you for coming. I want to thank Rodney Carroll, who is here. Rodney is the president and CEO of the Welfare to Work Partnership. What that means is Rodney is really in charge of convincing corporate America to do their duty, and that is to help people who want to find work. And Rodney's done a great job. There's millions of people have been placed in employment because of the Welfare to Work Partnership. And one of the really terrific companies that has responded to the call to be responsible corporate citizen in America is UPS. And I want to thank the representatives of UPS who are here. Big Brown, I think you call yourself now. On the stage with me is Al and Ann Briscoe. They're going to have something to say if we can ever get the president to stop talking. But I want to welcome the Briscoes and all the Welfare to Work graduates from the states of Pennsylvania and Michigan and Connecticut and Florida. We're really glad you're here. I want to thank the Briscoes for their willingness to share the inspiring stories, by the way, which we heard yesterday in Arkansas as well. These are stories that are being repeated all across the country. Compelling human stories of people conquering very tough odds to succeed, to go from poverty to success, and from welfare to work. The people in this room who have overcome the obstacles have obviously known some really tough times. Starting with the fact that the hardest job in America is a single mom. That's the hardest work. People have overcome incredible odds and obstacles and hurdles, but thanks to courage and determination and hard work, in many cases prayer, you turned your lives around, and you're strong, proud, successful women. And we want to thank you for that. And strong, proud, successful men, I might add. The historic welfare reform passed by Congress in 1996 helped many Americans find dignity and self-respect. And that's what we're here to talk about. We're not only here to talk about lives that have been changed, but law. And how to make the 96 law work better. And the 96 law worked well, because much of it had to do with the work requirement in the law. It basically said, you got to work. In order to be independent and free, you got to work, and we want to help you find work. That's what the law said. The statistics are strong about how successful the 96 law was. At the time, however, it was quite controversial. I wasn't here. I was working with Tommy trying to get the law passed from the perspective of a governor. But there was one study, for example, to show you how controversial the bill was, that said at least 1 million children would be cast into poverty by the welfare reform law. If it passed, if the 96 bill passed, that 1 million children would be thrown into poverty. Well, whoever did that study probably is out of work. At least I hope so. Because the truth is, there are 5.4 million fewer people in poverty today than in 96. And there are 2.8 million fewer children living in poverty than in 96. Any way you look at it, the bill has been really successful. The real success, though, is not found in the numbers. The real success has been found in the number of lives that have been changed. It's one thing to talk about reducing welfare rolls, and that's fine. But the most important thing is the number of lives that have been saved and enriched. That's the most important part about the 96 law and its consequences. Maria Medellin de mi estado de Texas, from the state of Texas, is here, and she is one type of story. She's been working for UPS, Big Brown, now for 3 years. When she first came to UPS, she was a single mom on welfare, raising 2 sons. She needed extra income and benefits to support her family, so she started working at UPS for $8.50 an hour. And then she was promoted. And now she is a recruiter. She's a boss. She's enrolled in college, and she's going to get her degree in 3 years. Maria says this about her journey and about her struggles. It was a challenge to overcome the statistic of being a single minority female with 2 children on welfare. UPS is the foundation that has allowed me to be where I am today. Being able to raise my children and provide for them is my greatest source of pride. Just showing my children that I'm strong enough and can succeed is more than enough for me. Maria, congratulations. And there are a lot of people with stories like Maria's. The great thing about the subject we're talking about today is there are Marias all across America, and right here in this room. And so the fundamental question is, how can we continue this progress? What can we do to continue to make America a better place? As you know, we struggle hard to keep America secure. And we're going to. We will win the war on terror and keep us free. But as we fight for our security, we also must work to make America a better place. And where we find people who've lost hope, we must work to provide hope. And we find pockets of despair, we must work, all of us work, to eradicate pockets of despair. And one way to continue to make sure America is a hopeful place, a better place, is to work on a new reauthorization bill for welfare that continues to make progress to help people. That's what we got to do. The bill in 96 is up, kind of run out of its time, and so it's now time for Congress to come together and pass another measure. And the debate's going to be, what do we do? How do we make it? What do we do? The House has already answered the question, and by passing a law that really makes sure that work is still an integral part of welfare reform. Work and family are integral parts of welfare reform, I might add. here's what I think ought to happen. I think the Senate ought to pass a bill that has the same principles embodied in the House bill, and it says that rather than lowering standards, we need to keep high standards in America, particularly when it comes to what we expect in terms of work. We want 70% of the people on welfare working by the next 5 years. That's what we want. We don't want to reduce the number of people that should be working in America because we understand how important work is to the future of every citizen. We want to raise the standard and raise the bar. And that means 40-hour work weeks. That's the definition of work. Now, I recognize there are a lot of people that need help. And so within the 40-hour work weeks, there are credits for education and vocational training to help people help themselves. A work requirement isn't punishment. Work requirement is liberation in our society. But in order to make sure that people are able to work, we want to make sure there's ample training and ample education to give people the chance they want. And that's what this bill, and that's what this vision for a better welfare reform bill talks about. And then, of course, the issue of money. And that's always a big debate here in Washington, D.C. Seems like you can never spend enough. And so one of the things I decided to do was to be wise about how we spent, the amount of money we spent in the welfare appropriations. I thought it made sense to keep the level of welfare spending the same as it has been, which really doubles the amount of money available for states to spend because the caseload has declined in half. So if you got the same amount of money and the caseload is declined in half, you got double the money available for people you're trying to help. And that ought to be ample money for the states to help people with education, vocational training, to help people help themselves. And so I'm confident the amount of money we got in the bill is more than adequate to meet the needs of and to help meet our goals of work and money available to help the 2 million families who are still on welfare rolls. And that's the goal, is to help as many as we possibly can achieve independence and dignity and work. I think it's important for members of Congress to talk to the people and listen to the people who've succeeded under the current law, who have actually become independent from government and what it means to their lives. They ought to listen to the Marias and the people I've had the honor of talking to. As they decide how best to help people, they ought to listen to the stories, and they ought to be hopeful and optimistic about what is possible in America. People who are pessimistic about the future, lower standards. People who are optimistic, raise the standards, because we believe in the best. I'm honored to have the Briscoes here with us today. They are exemplary of what is possible in America. And I fully understand that laws are important, no question about it. And spending money is important, there's no question about that. But there's nothing more important than heart and courage and desire. And so it's my honor to welcome here to the podium Mr. Alan Briscoe, who is a man who has overcome tough odds to be a great, proud dad and successful American. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. President. In 1987, we started a contracting business, and it lasted 10 years. It was called ABC, Home Improvement, all about Christ. We started with our life savings, my wife, my 2 youngest daughters, and my youngest son, Obote. We done all the work ourselves. In our first year, it was a real struggle, but God looked upon us, and business began to prosper in the second year. At the apex of our business, we were generating up to $10,000 per week. After 8 more years of progress, we hit a brick wall because of sudden economic hardship. All of our contracts came from the municipalities of Bridgeport, Stratford, and Hartford, Connecticut. One contract depended upon others, and all contracts collapsed at once, leaving us with nothing. We tried to survive, but to no avail. We lost our house, and I was devastated. I was 51 years old and frightened. My wife, on the other hand, had complete trust in the Lord. We moved from our beautiful home in the suburbs into a modest four-room apartment in the city. A social worker sent us through adult welfare to work training program at Career Resources in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Although I had a business, I did not think I need to be trained. But it was mandated to go through this program. Under this program, we had to go to work to receive benefits. We didn't realize it, but it was God working in the background. It didn't take us long to recognize the blessings we had at Career Resources. Because of our involvement with this program, we not only participated and graduated, we also volunteered to help grow the program through ideas. I was nominated to participate in the Fatherhood Initiative program in Connecticut that is designed to bring fathers back into the single-family household and help break the cycle of single-parent family and poverty. This was a blessing that God had ordained for my wife and myself. Today, we are a new couple. Through Career Resources, I was hired by SBC SNET Communication as a telephone operator, and from there I went back to school. At my age, I was really afraid. I had not been in school for more than 30 years. I received a associate degree in computer technology in the year 2000. I am now waiting to be transferred from operator services with SNET to network services. This June, the 18th, it will be my 3rd anniversary. Okay, we were down, but not defeated. We thank the Lord for having a man of God in the White House to lead not just this country, but also the entire world. We thank our new President, George W. Bush, for the work he's doing throughout the world for his peace and efforts. We support what the President is doing to help all people. This is a very special occasion, and we thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Alan.
And I told the President that it's really a blessing to be in charge of what's happening in the world today. I believe that what's happening in the world today is going to turn this whole world like it's never been turned before. So again, you have a big job. All you got to do is keep your courage, like I said, sir, and let the Lord do the work. Honey,
he's a great man. So is he. I'm excited to be here in the East Room. This is a beautiful home. I would love to live here, but I don't know if I want your job. I'm just going to thank the Lord Jesus Christ for the strength he gave us during our hard times. It was difficult for us, but he gave us a lot of strength. And I thank him for the strength that he's given the nation, because the nation is facing difficult, hard times also due to terrorism. But we'll be okay. I believe we will be, because we are a people of God. And I want to thank my mother, who put a strong faith foundation in me. Her name is Annie Ruth Curry. She's from Peekskill, New York. I have to mention her name. And I just want to say hi, Mom, and because of you, I am in the White House. I want to thank the President for his courage to enter into the open door. That vision that you told the nation on TV really touched my heart, and I just fell in love with you. Tell your wife not to be jealous, but I did, because I'm a visionary. And he saw an open door, and he walked in, and he became president of the United States. That's truly a vision. It was wonderful. And I want to thank my children. All of us pulled together during the difficult times. We drew strength from each other. We learned to trust, to depend on each other. Tiffany and Brianda are here. Nefertiti and Joshua couldn't come, but we love you. We're sorry you're not here. And I just want to thank everybody, Career Resources, for what they did in our lives, and just everybody here. God bless you, and I love you.
So there you have it. I want to thank you all for sharing. We're not quite yet.
Stay.
Yeah, you stay right there. I want to thank you all for sharing your story with us. And we could have had some great stories here. We could have taken a lot of time with some of the great stories here. And I want to thank you all for coming. This is a fabulous country in which we live. It is. And it's because the people are fabulous. For those who represent corporate America, keep doing what you're doing. You have a responsibility to the country in which you thrive. You've got a responsibility to help people. You do. Those of us in government have a responsibility to pass good law that'll help people. And for those of you who have overcome incredible obstacles, thanks for the example you've set. May God bless you and your families, and may God continue to bless America. Thank you.